people, the fact that what I missed the most as an expat was kale seemed ridiculous. And until living in France, I never gave much thought to the vegetable. I never thought that someday I would think, talk, and write about it on a daily basis. Kale is just a cabbage, after all. But it's almost like I had no choice. Kale has always been a part of my life because of my mother. She set me up for this. As she liked to say, you've been eating kale since conception. In the diary she kept during my first year, she clearly wrote out at around 9 months, "Kristen tried kale today. She loved it." She was macrobiotic at the time, following a strict diet that was high in whole grains like brown rice, quinoa, and millet, and vegetables like leafy greens, beans, and sea vegetables, and that restricted animal proteins and processed foods. So kale was not the only leafy green that held a prominent role in our meals. All vegetables were created equal, and did we ever eat our vegetables. Our dinner plates included baked varieties of squash and beets in winter, crisp cucumbers and lightly simmered green beans in summer, and steamed broccoli and cauliflower almost year-round, paired with brown rice or millet and sprinkled with toasted sesame seeds. On my first day of 3rd grade, while playing a game to introduce ourselves, we had to choose a noun corresponding to the first letter of our first name. I casually chose kale, not thinking twice about it, until I realized that none of my classmates knew what it was. This was when I began to understand that my mother and I ate differently than the majority of Americans, and that experiencing the flavors, aromas, and textures of different vegetables was something unique we shared. The summer I turned 5 was the summer my mother finally left my father. Married almost 12 years, unhappy for most of them, she'd had enough of the affairs, the late nights at bars with his band members, the excessive drinking of Rolling Rock. She was tired of being the only person supporting our family. She didn't need to be with someone who was taking advantage of her, someone who thought her only worth was her money, which was ironic since she wasn't earning much money to begin with. When I thought back over those years, I realized that everything came down to her. She worked 2 jobs to put him through school. She was at home every day with a newborn, but without access to a car. And she kept the family afloat while my father aimed to set up his recording studio business. I never doubted that he loved me, but he was not there day after day. Eventually, enough was enough. Gathering all of her strength, my mom moved us away from the post-steel mill south side of Pittsburgh that lined the Monongahela River. We left the remnants of what the city used to be, yellow factories, empty, dead, and rusting. In 1989, there was nothing clean or respectful about Pittsburgh, and the same went for my parents' marriage. I'm sure my father would say it all differently, and there are always 2 sides to every story, but that is what I remember. And then it was just the 2 of us. We were headed to the quaint, almost country-like village of Sewickley, northwest of the city along the Ohio River. It was in the school district where my mother taught kindergarten. I remember the big evergreen-colored truck from the day of the move. My grandmother unpacked all of our kitchen stuff. My great-aunt wore one of my tutus on her head to keep me entertained. My mom cried. We drove the 30 minutes to our new home in her silver Camry. The stick shift churned as each emotion pulsed from her heart to her limbs. Anger. Shift. Despair. Shift. Exhaustion. Neutral. We settled into a duplex apartment not far from the train tracks. I had a bike and a backyard with a new swing set. I met a few neighborhood friends, and we built a clubhouse in an old garage. I remember being happy and well-fed. To this day, I don't know how she did it. The strength hidden behind her eyes, bloodshot from crying, still astounds me. My mother never stopped cooking. She never stopped nourishing me. On Sundays, her face would disappear into steam from simmering carrots, celery, and onions as she prepped our soup for the week. Her food processor held a prominent spot on the kitchen counter, mixing homemade sauces. The kitchen always smelled of tahini. She showed me, leading by example, that real food is the right food. It is the only food. No matter what my mother went through emotionally, I never felt it. She pushed everything negative aside, especially when it came to cooking for us. My mother's devotion to healthy living and eating began in 1977, 2 years into her marriage, when she took her first yoga class at a local YMCA. She immediately felt different. Yoga led to yoga friends, which led to vegetarian cooking classes, which led to a deep interest in and practice of macro...